Highness, we are extremely happy and pleased to be talking to you today. The exhibition is exquisite. It is stunning. We are so amazed. In fact, the whole area of Rom looks so, shiny and amazing with all the artifacts that you have brought. So I'm sure you must be as excited as we are.
I'm very happy to see it here and displayed in this way, because each place has a different way of display, depending on the spaces. So I think they've been very creative here, and my compliments to them.
These are such huge pieces. I'm just wondering, how was it possible for you to get clearance from the Indian government, and how to, get clearance even from the museum, the Mehrangarh Museum, Mehrangarh. So how did they let you bring all those huge artifacts and the jewels especially out of India?
You see, Mehrangarh Museum Trust, that is actually managed by my family, so that wasn't an issue when we agreed to it, because when we were approached, we said why not. And then of course government has their own systems, and so they came, they inspected everything. Some items they rejected. They said no, they're too valuable or too precious to go out. As far as the jewelry is concerned, we didn't send jewelry. Jewelry are from other collections outside of India, and they don't. But the rest of the stuff is all from India. And yes, it's the first time I think so many large objects have travelled. Some had travelled earlier before for the Festival of India. The tent, for instance, was the first time it went out in Festival of India, and that was when it was government sponsored, and it had things from all over India, and that was in the 80s. But I think this is the first time one collection like this has travelled.
It's such a pleasure to talk to you today, and this beautiful and sumptuous jewels and all these the artifacts which have been brought from Jodhpur. So what do you have to say about the rich culture of Jodhpur Marwar?
What's special to me about the rich culture is the people of Jodhpur and Marwar. It is special even in today's date. In India it is really special, and because the people of that region are very proud of their culture, their heritage, their history. So I think it is actually really, I know I'm from there, but it is actually a very special place.
What do you think was your thought process? What was the main objective of bringing these sumptuous jewels and all these artifacts to Toronto, to a place like Toronto?
You see, as I said, this whole exhibition was curated with Mehrangarh and the Houston Museum of Fine Arts. And so I think the Houston then approached other museums in order to defray the costs. And one of them was Toronto. So then we came to know that way, that Toronto was interested. So I said, of course, if they're interested, we're interested.
The things that we see, they definitely speak of your rich history of Marwar-Jodhpur. So how does this has impacted over the years your state and the people associated with the royal family?
See, that's right. The whole idea of this thing was to tell a story through objects. Many exhibitions are actually very object focused. Here is not object focused. Here it is the entire thing you have to see together. It's a progression, and it tells a story of how the state evolved and the different influences that came in, whether from different parts of India with all the ladies through marriage, or whether through the Mughal or the British, and how the census came about, and how the family was able to integrate and to adapt to the changing circumstances. And now the final thing was, of course, when we started post my return from England in the 70s, and post the de-recognition, then I started converting the palace into a hotel and the fort into a museum. And then we started displaying these things. So with that, you'll be happy to hear that it's actually been taking some time, but today in the fort we have over 1 million visitors. We,
From across India or across the globe?
no, from across India, there are millions from across India, and over 100,000 from across the globe. So it was 1.1 million, 1.2 people we get, 10% of which are from across the globe.
Thank you very much, Dipali, for talking to us. You're the curator, and the way you have done this exhibition on Jodhpur, Marwar, it's so amazing. Even the Maharaja was all, praise for you. So what do you have to say about when you first heard about bringing this here and, doing all this creative thing over here?
Yeah, well, we first heard about it a few years ago, and I think that we all felt very enthusiastic that this exhibition should come to Toronto. We have a strong South Asian community here. There's so many people who feel connected to this, but I think it's also important to teach people who are not knowledgeable about South Asia about South Asian history. And so this exhibition came from the Museum of Fine Arts Houston in collaboration with the Mehrangarh Museum Trust. And one of the things that I love about it so much is that almost all the objects come directly from the royal family's collection. So these are things that have stayed in India. They weren't taken out and put in other Western museum collections. They're coming from India itself. And for many of them, it's the first time that they've been seen outside of India. And it ranges from objects like big tents and precious jeweled objects to weapons and stunning paintings.
Maharajaji, we would like to ask you this, rich history of Marwar-Jodhpur, how it has impacted different generations of royal family in the country, and how it has impacted even the people in that part of the world.
Well, firstly, I'm very grateful to my ancestors that the relationships they held with the people. As a result of that, the people still have the affection and regard for the family. Because when I came back from England, I'd gone at the age of 8. I was 22 or 23 when I came back. They didn't know me, yet I got a huge reception from the people. So and that was at a time when actually that whole business was happening about de-recognition. So it was contrary to what was happening in the rest of India, and so that gave me a lot of encouragement that people still have that affection and expectations also, which that was frightening. And then, so of course, the relationships within our families are there through marriages and things. We don't have any real association of Indian princes, but we all get together at marriages. So, and therefore there is also exchange of ideas. And one of the things that Jodhpur has impacted on the attire, the fashion of Jodhpur. A lot of these, they did the turban with a long tail, that evolved in Jodhpur. The Jodhpurs evolved this Jodhpur suit with a short coat, that's Jodhpur, and the short boots are Jodhpur. So
women from the royal family, they had a part that they played in the lives of Maharajas and their sons and brothers and everything. So how do you think you are carrying that tradition forward?
No, I think it's not so much of the lives of their brothers and Maharajas, but the lives, the roles they played in the city. So developing water bodies, projects, temples.
So the main role was in government.
In governance, a separate part of it. And I think what's important there was what they did with their dowries. Their dowries came, it's not dowries in more recent context, but their dowries came in to actually to build in their new homes, and that's what they used it for. So that was important. And I think what I've learned from the women in our history is the importance of just giving back and working and giving something back to society.
So as a princess, what projects are you now involved in Jodhpur Marwar?
So I actually run I look after all our commercial as well as our trust projects, and so I work for the Mehrangarh Museum Trust as well as our heritage hotels, and I do music festivals, which is very exciting. And the newest is a project which is very close to my heart, is a crafts regeneration project, arts. So we're working with jewellery makers, dari makers locally, because what people do internationally is they come, they give designs, and there's a very small trickle down effect to the craftsman. So I really want to develop the craftsman with a level of design, and we've just started this project, so I'm very excited about it.
When your father told you first that we are going to Toronto, because I know the first exhibition was before this was in USA, so how excited you were to be with him and be part of this tour? Because it really is a historic thing to,
No, so it's very excited. I mean, I was very excited as soon as I knew the exhibition was traveling. So that's the whole thing, to just see it. I mean, just to see it in different spaces. This is the third city, second country, and then we go to Europe, Prague after this. So it's very exciting to have your culture for the world to see it and to try and understand it differently. It's very exciting, and to be able to meet people in all these exciting cities has been great.
Maharaja ji, we are really, tempted to ask, all these things that you have brought here, are they? You have already said that they are Mehrangarh Museum is part of your family, but is that all from the museum, or is that from your private collection as well?
The private collection. There's some on display. These paintings are on display in the palace, Umaidwan Palace, which is now part of the hotel, and then some other stuff was in storage. It's pulled out.
Your final thoughts, what do you expect and from this exhibition here in Toronto, and any message that you want to give to the people of Toronto?
I think cultural exchange and artistic exchange is the diplomacy of today, the soft diplomacy, and I think it creates for a better understanding of our peoples. And of course, Toronto has a huge Indian diaspora, so they already are aware of India and Indian culture. I was the other day, the first function I attended was the Rana, Rajasthan Association of North America, and so people from Rajasthan were there. So it was nice to see that, and I think Canadian people, I just like to hope that they get inspired by this and want to come to India.